Let's see what you've got, everyone. It's Deep Dive Zone, a Sonic review series for fans of all shapes and sizes. We are entering here part 3 of our Sonic Battle videos with the third story, which is, of course, Rouge. Rouge?
Yeah, it really should be Knuckles.
I mean, that's where it left off last time, kind of.
It did leave off with Rouge, but, like, it should be Knuckles.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like it doesn't make any amount of sense within the story, it's just you don't expect it.
Sure, yeah, I guess that's true. I was a bit surprised to see there was a story for Rouge.
I can't say I was surprised to see a Rouge story. I think more just that it's this early on.
Yeah, the story itself is really weird, too, because, like, I write in my notes here, like, Rouge steals and trains Emerald to go on a mission to rob Chaos Emeralds, which is true. I say steal, it's more like she just asks him to come with her, and he does,
Yeah.
because she made Sonic tell him to do what she says last time, and he was just like, okay.
Why did Sonic do that?
This plot is run by idiots.
It really is. This is... What's that trope called? Like,
The idiot plot.
yeah, it is just the idiot plot.
A little bit, yeah.
I mean, it starts off with Eggman being an idiot and just throwing Emerald away, and then it goes from there.
Yeah.
I think, for the most part, Rouge is probably one of the smarter characters in this game, though, because...
At least she already has a goal in mind with Emerald, even if it's kleptomania.
She's not stupid. However, I have other problems with her character.
Oh yeah, there's plenty of other problems with her. I still don't... I have a problem with her character, like, on a fundamental level, though, that I didn't really mention in SA2. What the fuck is the point of a kleptomaniacal federal agent?
Well, she's supposed to be able to use her skills as a treasure hunter for the government. Like, that makes some degree of sense. I could even see her being the classic caught thief that then is like, wait, you're hired.
I mean, that's basically what happens in Sonic X.
Yeah, the problem is it's harder to have her be a solo character in that, because it's like, well, how do they control her?
Right. She feels like two characters that are forced together. Like, give us the cat thief, that's a cat, and then give us the federal agent, that's a bat. Don't shove them all together and make them both a bat.
Alright, my favorite character, Rouge the Cat.
Honestly, I think it worked fine in SA2. I think it becomes more of a mess now.
Yeah, no, in SA2 it works mostly fine because she feels less like just, I want to steal everything in existence in SA2. Well, this game, her only goal is, I am going to steal a Chaos Emerald.
Well, and it's especially weird because, like, you know, you're kind of being a lawbreaker and working for the law at the same time.
Yeah, it feels weird why the government also puts up with it.
Yeah, like, I'm trying to remember, do you get chased by any guard robos in this story at all?
Yes? Hold on.
Yeah,
I believe so.
Guard robo fight, at least one noted.
Yeah, there's at least one. I think there's probably like 2 or 3.
Yeah, so it's like, this is just the state versus the state to some degree.
Mm-hmm.
This story just doesn't make sense.
Really
should we get
doesn't.
into it?
Yeah, we might as well.
Yeah.
So, surprisingly, the episode doesn't actually pick right after the last one, for once. There's a little bit of a flashback at the start. I can't remember exactly what it is, but I think it's Rouge getting their assignment or something.
Yeah.
I don't remember when exactly it's revealed, but apparently the government, like, had the Gizoid and they, like, misplaced it in quotes 50 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
which means that Rouge does know, to some extent, what this thing is and is still just using it for petty theft anyway, which is kind of funny, actually. I kind of like that.
It's kind of funny, but also underwhelming.
It's using the Master Sword to cut grass, you know?
So the thing about it is, you know, I was actually pretty happy with the character in SA2. Heroes was Rouge being treasure hunter, and that's it. And I was like, oh, finally, back to form when I saw her in Sonic and Tails' episodes. But then here, she's like, oh yes, the Gizoid, so mysterious, gotta go get it so I can steal stuff. And then she like completely drops the whole government agent role for the rest of the story.
Yeah, pretty much. The story feels more like the I mean, every story to some extent is Emerald bonding with whichever character, but this is the... I'm trying to formulate the comparison I'm making. It's like it's the little kid getting trapped in the seedy underbelly of town with an untrustworthy adult.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah, just a bit.
Except in this story, there's no threat from, like, the world. The only threat that's, like, pursuing them is fucking Amy.
Yeah.
Yeah, wait, that does happen. At first,
yeah.
she does some, like, research at the central lab, and then suddenly there's, like, a login by someone else, and I couldn't help but laugh, because it's like, login as Dr. Eggman, and I'm like, so he just used his real name when he logged. Of course, he wasn't trying to be subtle at all.
Yeah, I mean that makes sense for Eggman.
Let me put in my social security code.
And I was surprised that you then met Eggman just standing around in the streets. I always find it funny when Eggman isn't in like a robot or whatever. He's just standing around on his own.
He's also doing it on like an iPhone or something, because he's just hacking into the government from the street.
That makes perfect sense. That's now my headcanon, is that he's just walking around on the street with an iPhone, hacking a building right next to him.
Isn't that what they do in Watch Dogs?
Yes, it is, actually.
Magic iPhone wand.
It is the magic iPhone wand.
I was initially disappointed at Rouge, but then I got a little happy again, because we got some, like, continuation, almost, off of the relationship between Eggman and Rouge after SA2, because I was surprised. I thought he'd be like, "Rawr, how dare you?" But he's actually super casual when he sees Rouge. He's just like, "Not now, Rouge, I'm busy." He's not like, "You dratted." No, like, apparently they left on good terms. I didn't quite think that, but...
I mean, it sure doesn't seem like they would have.
It's easy to forget because, you know, the end of SA2, everyone's a little bit pensive, and it's like, well, what about Heroes? You want to say, what about Heroes? But Eggman is barely in that game. It's all Metal Sonic.
Eggman, right.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Well, yeah, because Eggman really isn't even a presence in Heroes.
Yeah, he's not a presence until the end of the game, at least.
And then he's busy getting beat up by the Chaotix.
True.
There you go.
But Rouge is very persistent, and she does get on Eggman's nerves. And then it is revealed, you mentioned it before, Devin, but I think this is when it's officially revealed in the plot, that apparently Eggman has crushed up Chaos Emeralds and is using them to power up his Phi units, which...
Yeah, these shards.
I'm so used to the comics and Sonic Underground, where when you break a Chaos Emerald, like, you cause Armageddon, basically.
Right.
But
yeah.
No, it's totally fine here.
Yeah, you know.
I'd say it makes more sense because, you know, at least in Archie where there's, you know, hundreds of Chaos Emeralds, you'd have to imagine one of those gets broken every week just by accident. But I think the weirder thing is that they basically just work like smaller Chaos Emeralds when you break them. You'd think that would do something to them.
Well, I would assume... I figured they were more like weaker Chaos Emeralds.
Well, yeah, that's the implication, because they still give considerable power.
Sure, yeah.
Apparently. But yeah, we start out strong with run-of-the-mill Phi battle here. This is where we get to get used to playing as Rouge. And I have to say, I didn't expect to find Rouge even more annoying when you're playing as them, because of how you fly up in the air and you have to intentionally drop down again.
Yeah, that's annoying. It does let you kind of abuse what is probably her best move, her flying drop kick.
Yeah, if you just keep pressing that, you can almost never get hit.
But I mean, I found it kind of hard to aim, though.
Yeah, but you have all the time in the world to aim. I will say, her ground power special, the, like, huge, like, roundhouse kick, I actually really like, just because it really hits people with the knockback.
Yeah.
But it's like, when enemies can stun lock or overpower you so easily, it's like, yeah, you just stick with the spam.
Yeah.
But, she wins, because obviously. And then she's like, "Alright, Emerald, let's go. We're on a mission now for shiny gems." Then we go back to Sonic, and this is when Amy is introduced. And Amy is... Wow. Like, they're just going full on, aren't they?
Yeah. Amy is a little psychotic in this game.
This is
Amy... actually is.
at her fucking worst. I really detest Amy in this game.
I cannot blame you. She is fucking terrible.
It's like, okay, in Heroes, it's like, oh, Amy's gonna try and beat Sonic into marrying her, but that game is at least, like, over the top and silly. This game tries to have much more of the sort of adventure style of writing in many cases, but this game's version of Amy acts like she's already married to Sonic, and so comically obsessed with him as to see him training Emerald and instantly assume he's practicing to be a father.
That was actually hilarious, though. Like, after I realized that Amy is just not Amy, she's, like, possessed by a spirit, then actually it's kind of funny. I like the very weak attempts at animation during these cutscenes. When Sonic runs away, he just vibrates for a second and then disappears.
Yeah. It's like he's starting his engines.
Guess so.
Yeah, it's like we don't even see the worst of it in this story. But Amy she is kind of losing it. She is literally baby crazy.
I mean, one of my notes later on is Amy actually schizophrenic?
No, yeah, there are bits later on. Like,
I just want to tease that right now because she is actually insane already.
For real.
Yeah, we'll get to that fight. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, I figured you know what I'm talking about.
Hard to miss.
It really is.
But here you fight Amy and Emerald, and it's cool to see Amy in the game as a fighter.
Yeah, that is cool.
That's great. I didn't expect some of the moves. They always throw in weird moves for these characters, but I really did not expect her to just put on boxing gloves and start punching.
Yeah, I actually like that, but...
That is funny, but, like, she's got a hammer. Why not just make her entire moveset revolve around the hammer?
That's what I would figure.
But the boxing gloves are funny.
I appreciate the variance. What I don't appreciate is fighting against Amy. Holy crap, she's annoying to fight against.
Yeah, she is kind of annoying.
All of her moves, especially her heavy attack, will send you flying, and she is good at landing the pursuit attack in midair. And if you get hit by that, especially if you're a character that doesn't have high health, which Rouge doesn't, she is good at, like, killing you in, one combo.
I'm glad I decided to cheat.
Yeah, ever since Knuckles, I've not been playing this game legitimately.
Yeah.
I did.
Here's the thing. I
don't have the time. This game is way too padded.
Here's the thing. I probably do have the time. I don't have the willpower, but I'm glad one of us did apparently have the willpower.
It wasn't super fun, but yeah.
Yeah, I don't have the willpower to play it legit. Like, it would require so much grinding.
I'm just not good at this style of gameplay in the first place.
You know what? I don't think it's a matter of not being good. This is just not a good arena fighter.
Well, true. Moving along, though.
Yeah.
If you happen to get a drop, you get to see some of Amy's silly move names, which are just like Girl Jab, Girl Crush.
Yeah.
Okay.
Girl Crush.
So Emerald is successfully kidnapped, kind of. I mean, he's a willing companion.
Yeah.
Kind of just goes along with whatever happens. But of course, it's time for our weekly appearance of Gamma, who just is in the street there. I was amused though because Rouge sees Gamma's like, huh, that robot looks like Omega. Yes, on point. That's literally what she would think because she hasn't seen Gamma before.
Right.
That was actually very clever. What is up with Gamma in this game is very, very weird.
It is.
Right here, they're still just teasing something, but nothing happens, and Gamma just blows up again, except they're not actually blowy-uppy. They'll be fine.
Yeah, they're perfectly.
He just kind of shows up to get donked every once in a while for about the first half of the game.
Literally.
And this is our new hub, because we've had the Emerald Town hub, we've had the Central City hub, and we've had the whatever the Knuckles area is called hub. And this is our fourth one. It's not our final one. It's technically two more, I guess. But the Night Babylon area, which I think is hilarious because, A, Rouge apparently owns a nightclub here,
So Rouge does own the club.
It's called Club Rouge. I don't know who else would own it.
I mean, yeah, I figured because it was called Club Rouge that she probably owned it, but she's like 18, right?
Yeah, but it's...
Huh?
Again, this is
what?
No, that's in the Heroes Manual. That's where all the ages come from.
That's where they come from. Heroes. Oh, okay.
Yeah, but none of that stuff matters, because remember, this is the game where Amy is baby crazy, and that manual says she's like 12 years old, so...
I know, she's 12.
That would speak to some serious psychological traumas that I don't think we want to get into here. What I was going to say is that it's funny that Rouge owns a nightclub, because no matter how old she is, that doesn't really make sense for her character. And it's also funny that it's right down the street from a giant Eggman base that's shaped like his head.
Yeah, so I saw that, and I'm like, is this district owned by Eggman? No, we'll get back there. It's just there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, I want to commend the game, sort of, for trying to vary things somewhat here, because Rouge does these training missions with you, where you have one mission where you have to kill Rouge 5 times without getting beaten down a single time, which is annoying. And then there's another where you have to avoid Rouge hitting you at all for several minutes. And what's hilarious about that one is you can just quit out. Yeah, you can just quit out and it's like, oh, you won.
That was great.
Fortunate bugs.
I don't think it's a bug. I don't know.
It has to be a bug, because there's no way that would be actually programmed.
You can't quit out of other battles.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure
Most
it's
of them.
just, you quit and then it's like, oh, you fulfilled the conditions by, not getting hit.
I guess it's like, if lose is no, then progress or something.
I guess, yeah.
That's my guess anyway, completely naive, really not knowing how this game works at all.
I hadn't thought about that, but that actually does, make some amount of demented sense.
Before you do have the training fights with Rouge, though, I have to note, Devin, you mentioned earlier, maybe the guard robos are, made by Eggman.
Yeah.
That's actually confirmed.
The story confirms that.
I
enjoyed that confirmation, because that makes total sense. Eggman needs some way to make money, especially if this game takes place after Heroes, which is the only way it makes sense.
I hadn't thought about that. He's extra broke then.
He is extremely broke right now. He needs to make money.
I do like the idea of Eggman as a private military or security contractor.
Oh, yeah, no, Eggman is 100% part of the military-industrial complex.
Well, and just the idea that, people are still buying from him even though he, is a terrorist and a slaver.
Well, I assume he does it through shell companies, so no one actually knows that it's Eggman. Other than Rouge. Or I guess maybe the higher-ups in the government do, but they're like, damn, he gives out good deals, we gotta buy him.
Well, that makes me think, people see Gamma on the street and it's like, oh, that guard robo has a nice paint job.
Yeah,
well, we were just talking...
just gray.
That's true. We were just talking about the Eggman building, though, and I like to think that the reason, law enforcement isn't investigating it is due to some twisting from higher-ups.
Ooh, conspiracy.
Yeah. This would explain why Sonic doesn't have much respect for any institutions.
Yeah.
Well, it also explains why you hardly ever see, any human... I'm trying to think. Maybe later. But at this point, you don't see much human force trying to, help at all.
Yeah, there's not a lot of gun versus Eggman, ironically.
Okay, you did see that in SA2, actually.
There was some of that in SA2.
But SA2, he was, literally directly attacking them. In this game, he's just powerful age-hit robot. And they're probably whatever.
And between Lost World and Forces, we learn what the consequence of them treating Eggman with kid gloves is.
Oh boy, I love it when these theories actually fit.
Anyway,
So, there's a very subtle and menacing progression going on here with Emerald. When Rouge tells them to fight the guard Robo, I was kind of surprised when they were like, playtime.
To be fair, that's explain why he's doing that is explained in the next story.
Well, but, playing to him is fighting, because it's fighting Sonic.
But it is also kind of concerning.
He's been conditioned to accept the violence as commonplace.
Yeah.
Yep.
Fun fact, Club Rouge is the name of a real strip club in our area. I see it almost every time I go to the mall or the Target there. Both me and my
Yes.
sister have worked jobs close to the building.
Yeah, Kayla's pointed that out to me before.
I assume the women there are not bats. I haven't been there, though. It's right
They
next
might
to a
be
weed
bat
dispenser.
dressed though, and a Taco Bell.
Yeah, my sister used to work at the Taco Bell, that's how I remember.
It's the perfect place for a Taco Bell and a weed shop right next to a strip club.
They know their audience. Anyway, that
Oh,
doesn't
yeah.
matter.
That location is very fortunate that they based off of some. Well, it's a coincidence, but
Yeah.
they coincidentally had something in common with a Sega franchise and not a Nintendo franchise.
Well, in fairness, what would you make it for Nintendo? Club Birdo? I don't think it would work.
Ooh, yeah, that wouldn't work as well.
Anyway.
Anyhow, oh yeah, so Amy shows up again, and this is the part where you start to get little inklings that she's not just, being over the top like heroes, but she literally like starts like panting heavily and then like passes out.
Yeah, she's like actually psychotic.
There's something wrong with her.
I think she needs to go see a therapist.
Yeah, I don't know what happened between SA2 and now. I guess Eggman pointing a gun at her head for that long must have traumatized her and made her, yeah.
I'm gonna be honest. Little things like this, and I mentioned before, like, why is Knuckles at Holy Summit, and what's up? Why is Rouge acting, not the way I would expect her to? It really makes this story feel like it's an AU more than.
It kind
anything.
of does. It feels like and maybe that's how Shadow having all of his memories works.
Yeah, I mean, if you removed this game from the main timeline canon, it would not change very much.
Sure.
It's like, Emerald and then Gamerald and then other Gizoids. Like, Chronicles is, of course, not part of the main timeline anymore, so that wouldn't be a big deal. And Gamerald is literally in one game and only in supplementary material after that, so... But yeah, it's just weird. Is this the part where her hallucination fights alongside her?
No, I'm pretty sure that's in her story.
No, that's in this story.
Wait.
No, because at one point you fight against Amy, and she starts hallucinating.
Oh wait, shoot, you're right. I wrote down.
That's why I said she's turning schizophrenic.
I wrote down the fight as only versus Amy, but that's just because Sonic isn't actually there.
Sonic is just a hallucination, which I guess is a collective hallucination.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Amy's psychic powers are so strong that she's causing Rouge and even Emerald to hallucinate. I don't actually remember if Emerald's in that fight.
He is.
So, I mean, I assume that was just gameplay.
Well, it is, obviously.
Yeah, it is, but But in the cutscene, they even show Sonic showing, or quote-unquote showing.
Whether it's gameplay or not, your hallucinations do not swing back at you and then hit other people.
Yeah.
I have to imagine Amy is just fighting even harder, and that's why there's two opponents. If you have to justify it at all, and that's the way she sees it. So she doesn't even know what she's doing half the time, which doesn't make sense.
Well, yeah. So I assumed she saw it as Sonic being there, and everyone else was just like
fighting an especially rabid Amy.
Yeah, basically. Amy is literally going mental.
And to top it all off, well, no, yeah, sorry, I couldn't remember. This is the part where she literally passes out. And at first I was like, is Rouge being brutal? No, it's actually just Amy, because she does that more later.
Yeah, she passed out in like the middle of the street.
Yeah,
I really hope Rouge and Emerald moved her onto the sidewalk at least.
And she'll be fine.
She'll be fine. Oh, okay.
Well, you could at least take her. I like the idea that you say don't take her home. Just make sure she's out of the way of cars.
Well, because
No, I mean it's Rouge. It's like she's not going to put in that much effort. But...
Exactly. Rouge doesn't give that much of a shit. Also, we don't know where Amy lives in this story. We learn that in the next story.
Right.
Which is a weird sentence. I'm going to be honest.
Anyway,
I just realized we missed it, but I have to give credit where credit is due. Each area has a different battle background, and I actually really like the one for the Night Babylon area. It's pinball themed without the annoyances of pinball because it doesn't have functional flippers. Imagine that.
Yeah, that was kind of cool.
I bet they probably would have put those in there if they had the tech for it.
I swear to God, if they'd put functional flippers in here, I would have actually fucking exploded.
I mean, this game has fudged like Doom 3D. I don't think they would be able to.
Yeah.
It actually
This
might
game
literally
really
be the same techniques. I don't know.
This game should not have been on the Game Boy Advance.
Truly.
So they go to steal the emerald. That's what we've been actually building to here.
Right.
And of course, Rouge is like, "Oh, I'm gonna get the emerald," and then Emerald just takes it and absorbs it.
Okay, I have a question about this. Why was there an emerald, a Chaos Emerald, just hanging out at a fucking, not grocery store, at a grocery store. No, a jewelry store.
Because it's a big shiny gem. They're like, "Oh, hey, we can steal that and sell it."
Aren't the Chaos Emeralds, like, well known?
It's hard to say, really.
Well, so there's probably more rocks that look like Chaos Emeralds in the world that you wouldn't assume that one is one.
I feel like you'd be able to tell if a Chaos Emerald is a Chaos Emerald. I feel like when you pick it up, you're gonna feel the energy.
Maybe if you're in touch with, the Chaos energy, but I bet most people aren't.
Yeah, I don't know. I think we've determined at this point, at least most of our main characters are.
Yeah, but some of them it only makes bubbles for. Anyway, sorry, that's vitriol from a different era.
Honestly, if the game doesn't try to track the Chaos Emeralds, see that one bit in SA2, I'm not going to throw a fit about where they show up because it doesn't make any sense at all. How, Sonic should have them after every game. Does he just drop them? No, you just have to let it slide.
I mean, I think they scatter like the Dragon Balls, but they don't show it until Frontiers, so...
Well, yeah, I mean,
then there's no evidence until Frontiers.
Yeah.
True, but Frontiers does confirm that happens.
Yeah, but we can't
future evidence to defend this game.
Yeah, we can't retroactively... We can't retcon this. Anyway...
I don't want to defend this game. I want to make that clear.
Good. I'm glad we're on the same page. Because Rouge does have a bit of stupidity here when she, as you said, takes along Emerald and then he just steals the Chaos Emerald. It's so obvious. Painfully obvious. I knew that was going to happen immediately. And she's like, how dare you?
Didn't she also already know about Emerald and the Chaos Emerald?
She literally said, go stuff it full of Chaos Emeralds.
Right. Yeah, so, why is she now confused that Emerald is ooh, tasty Chaos Emerald?
And what do you think was going to happen? Well, and I guess Rouge gets punished for her stupidity because Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles all arrive to collectively just beat down this woman.
At first, it's just Sonic.
Right, and then
the rest of the team,
and it's a triple beatdown.
And I would like to state that my note for the beginning of the fight is just fuck.
It's
literally
it's tough. You are surrounded by 3 enemies with 5 lives each, and you can't lose yours. But
even cheating, I struggled with this fight.
It's funny that. It was last story, where it ended with a 3-on-1, but you were the 3. Now it's a 3-on-1, and you're the 1.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, it's really annoying to do because you can get stun locked so easily because you have to fight 3 people. It's a Dark Souls double boss fight.
Ooh, yeah, it is. That's a good point.
Triple boss fight.
Yeah, are there triple boss fights in Dark Souls? I think there's triple boss fights in Bloodborne. Anyway.
I think something I noticed, even while cheating and having infinite health, so the only thing that can take one of my lives is a special move, I felt like the fight was still really annoying because of all the stun locking.
Well, yeah, literally it's don't get hit at all.
Yeah, exactly, you basically have to just not get hit.
Yeah, this is where you just spam the air kick move so that they can't actually get high enough to touch you. You actually literally gain height from doing it, which means that I guess Rouge has just solved perpetual energy.
I assume she would get tired eventually.
You could go boot up the game yourself and press the B button until the sun explodes.
You realize that every video game character has solved perpetual energy.
I'm being facetious. Actually, I did learn recently that our sun's actually not big enough to ever go supernova. It's just gonna fizzle out. That's kind of sad.
I'm sorry, why is that sad?
Explosions are cool.
Look, science isn't perfect. Just wait a few, billion years? Yeah. And then we'll see, now won't we?
Jesus
Maybe
Christ.
we'll induce the sun to explode. I don't know.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, science will. If science is wrong, science will prove itself wrong by making it happen. Anyway, we were talking about weird gameplay quirks. I find it funny that the game is like, you must win this fight, but it very obviously there is absolutely no way Rouge could beat these three all at once. And so after you win the fight, she's just like, I give up.
Yeah, it's like she canonically loses, basically.
She really does.
Which is like, yeah, fair, because she could barely match Knuckles, so all three of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just rude. It's just the game being mean to you, honestly.
Literally. It's crazy.
So yeah, Rouge slinks off, Amy acts really embarrassing again, and that's kind of it.
Yeah, my last note for this story is, I kind of hate Amy.
Just wait until she takes the spotlight.
I can only imagine.
I don't have to, and yeah, it's pretty bad, but don't worry, this is there's nowhere to go but up for Amy after this game, and that's actually wrong, because she sucks in 06 too. Anyway, Amy's gonna have a bad time of it for the next few years. So I like Rouge being self-interested in using Emerald for personal gain, but this story ranged from boring to really annoying. So not a great one.
So I agree, except I don't like her being self-interested, because I don't think it fits with the prior information. So I just hate it.
No, I'm just saying that, like, in concept, I think it's a fun dynamic. Not that I think it was used well with something this powerful as an idea.
Yeah.
Honestly, the way things are going, not great for these episodes. Like, Sonic's episode at least introduces things, but Tails' episode didn't do a whole lot. And once again, it seems like the only point of these episodes is get Emerald an emerald.
Yeah, you're seeing the pattern.
I think this is where I started getting kind of worn out by this game already.
Just remember, I did all of this without cheating. Imagine what it was like for me.
Yeah, I know. I can only applaud you, Devin, because the holy fuck.
Listen, if you're gonna applaud me, save it for next time, because that is the end of tonight's episode. Thank you all so much for watching. If you like this video, please share, like, comment, and subscribe. And if you want to see more of us, you can find us at any of the links in the link tree in the description. We will see you next week for another episode of Sonic Battle. Have a great night, and take care.